Okay, what's going on, boys? We got some squad builders for you today, all the way from 900k, well, 1 million, 250k, 500k, 750k. Let's get started straight away though into the first one, which is a 250k team. This is the 250k team. I wanted a strong defense, so we have Godfrey and Tamori, two of the best centre backs, if not in the game, especially this Godfrey card. Trying to get some of the new cards in as well. We have to put Son in. I think he has to be in any team under 200k, to be honest. If we had more money, I would edge towards Dembele, but we don't. And then we fill it up with League Serie A. We've got Tonali and Barella. It's probably one of the best CDMs. We've got David Fay and we've got Muriel. I'll show you how this lines up inside the game as well. So we've got about a 4-4-2. And I've tested these as well. 4-4-2 be something like this. Again, the defensive line is completely intact, so you don't have to worry about it too much. I would say Son will be the real main striker in this formation. You can go ahead and copy and paste these, but I would say Son is really the go-to kind of guy. If we're talking about 3-5-2, I'll put Son there. And you got Muriel. Muriel is like one of the best cheap cards that you can get. And then for left back, or should I say left mid, right mid, you can choose. I personally put Cuadrado in right back, and you can put this guy in left mid. But it's up to you. Cuadrado can play any of his positions. And that is pretty much it. And if you go in typical 4-2-3-1, Son goes in the striker. I think this one here, this is where things get a tiny bit complicated. I would personally put Muriel behind him. If you want someone a bit more agile up front, you can always do something like this. And the reason why I say that is because Muriel has got better agility and balance than Son. But that's the way I'll line it up in. And of course, the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-1-2-1-2 is pretty much that's pretty much self-explanatory. You can pretty much go like that, and you can just either move Anthony there or move them around like so. That would be the narrow, should I say. Now, going over now to the 500k team. This would be the next upgrade. You can keep the players like Son. We've gone with a more... You kind of take a bit of a hit on the back line, but you still replace them with good enough players. Like Lacroix, is he better than Godfrey? I would say in some ways, yes. Very good defensive awareness, medium-high work rate. It's probably one of the best centre-backs in the game as well. Then Koundé, again, has got very good agility and balance, which is kind of a direct kind of replacement for Godfrey. Top agility and balance as well. And then we've got Navas, perfect for a left mid, right mid role. Davies, Emre Can, probably one of the most underrated cards in the game because you put a shadow on him. We're talking about some joke stats. This guy is honestly one of the best cards I've seen in centre mid. I've used him the entire time. Goretzka, best box to box, probably arguably gold card with Llorente. Dembele, Nkunku, Mane and Son speak for themselves. I think in terms of all the teams, this is kind of the best budget. Like, you know, if you ask me, this is the best budget. If you're playing like a 4-2-3-1, I would say Son still goes in striker, Nkunku in cam. And that's the way that I will do it. Playing a 4-1-2-1-2, Nkunku goes to centre mid. And the reason for this is because he can also play that centre mid role because he has that, you know, I'm not saying you should, but if you put a shadow on him, you can get that centre mid role done very, very well, or high medium. And that's where I'll line up in like that. If I'm playing a 4-3-1-2, something similar like that, it will be the same thing. And if I'm playing a 4-4-2 or something of that nature, anything of that nature, what I'll probably do is Dembele up front or Mane. It's up to you. If you prefer the 5-star skill moves, you can go with Dembele. But otherwise, Mane, you can interchange them. That's the kind of the key thing with these teams, that if you don't like a certain player up front, there's always other good players around him. In the 3-5-2, Dembele has to stay there. And I'd probably go something like this, to be honest. If I was doing this personally speaking, I would do something like this. I think that's kind of the best bet to go. Because Nkunku can play that role very, very well. But that's what I'd say. So that is, of course, the 500k team. Very, very good team. And a 4-3-3, by the way, the 4-3-2-1. I would say Son still goes as the marksman striker. Nkunku's kind of the guy that plays that centre mid role if you go to a 4-3-3. And think of Emre Can and Goretzka, the holding players. Now going to 750k, we got this for 700k. This is where it kind of comes, okay, we're making some upgrades. We've got Eden Militao. Of course, very, very good card. The problem is that we have a problem with the attack. We can't get Ronaldo in because the team will be only worth 200k. So I don't want to break the teams. We've got Mendy, the best left back, one of the best right backs, one of the best centre backs. The only weakness here I'd probably say is the goalkeeper. But to get Son on chemistry is definitely worth it. We get Valverde in. We definitely pack a punch with Valverde. Arguably the best CDM, best goal card CDM inside the game. Both on new gen and old gen, by the way, mainly because of that sprint speed. And this one is probably, I would say, the real one to go for. If you got the 500k, but you can stretch a bit extra. 4-2-3-1, we're talking about that. I would still say Son goes in strike if it's up to me. And to be honest, you can do this any way you want. I'd probably say Mane behind him. But to be honest, again, you can use both of these players. It's completely up to you. If you prefer the 5-star skill moves, you can go with this. Like that. So the good thing is all these 4 players interchangeable. This one, when I make these teams, I do them deliberately, so you can be like, okay, you know what, I don't like that player, that's where that'll line up. But let's say, for example, you didn't like Son up front. Let's say for some reason you didn't. You can always put Son in left in the mid, and you can do something like that or something like this. I'd always go with a marksman striker, personally speaking. And that's the way that I would run it. If you are going to be playing a 4-4-2 or something of that nature, Son and Mane, or you can go with Nkunku and Son. But I think Son and Mane are pretty good, or Dembele and Son. I think with Son in the team, he has to play striker. 5-star weak foot, one of the best strikers inside the game. 5-star weak foot. He's so good right now that I couldn't actually relegate him. It's only because I packed Mbappe. But even then, I bring him on as a sub. So that kind of puts it very much into perspective. And you're going for 4-1-2-1-2. Same thing, pretty much self-explanatory. And Nkunku goes to centre mid. Then we go over to the million coin team here. Now, this is where I made some changes. We got it just under a million coins, so you still have time. Now, I would personally speaking, someone like Jota, I'll probably get Keane here. It does push it over the budget. Yes, I know. You can also get Zaha here. And if you really want, let's say, more of a winger, let's say a pure winger, you can go with Zaha here as well. But you can see the budget then gets completely distorted. So I kept Son in. If you really want, you can get rid of Son. You can go ahead and get someone else here. Another option is Vinicius Jr. You go Vinicius Jr. here, and then that way you can go with like Courtois in goal or something like that. Anything of that nature, you can go with something like this. Whichever way that you want. The only problem is Ronaldo loses it, but don't worry, you just get a Portuguese manager, and then Ronaldo then gets 3 chemistry. So whichever system you want. I'll be honest, most goalkeepers are trash anyway, from what I found. So I'm gonna stick with Lloris, and then that way you have 2 key strikers. If you're playing, for example, a 4-2-2. And let's just say you had Jota. Let's say you had Keane. If you had Keane, let's say in this team, then Keane would go in striker and you'll put Son and Cam. But let's just say we have Jota for now. Then we'll put Jota in Cam, because Jota is not as good as thing up front. But if we had Keane here, as I mentioned, if the budget allows you, then of course it will be like this. 2 of the best centre mids, if not the best combination in the game. 1 of the best strikers. An underrated striker, don't forget Keane does have 4-star high agility and balance as well. You put a Hunter on him. Most of these cards I'll still go to Hunter. I don't really care about the lengthy, to be honest, too much. I think it's overplayed too much in this community. That's my personal preference. I think Ronaldo always has to be the real OG striker there. So if you have Jota, for example, then Jota will go on a wing because we've got Keane here. But you can, of course, put Son there as well. You've got 4 of the best attackers in the game, you can argue, in this situation. Ronaldo still goes up top. Then I think Son, you bring him back to left center because he's got the high work rates. He can play in that 4-4-2 as well. If you defend the 4-4-2, he goes left mid, he goes right mid. You've probably seen the video on my channel. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure you do check it out. And if you go for the 3-5-2, it will be something like this. And I think Dembele kind of has to go striker here. It's kind of up to you how you would do it. I'd probably say something like this, or maybe something like that is what I would say. Rudiger in the middle because he's the slowest card, and of course I'd probably go like that. So Keane in the middle, or you can just put Keane over Jota. In this case, put him as left mid. But you know, for a million coins, you always want to get a good striker. That's why your large chunk of your budget is going to cost 500k, but it doesn't matter. You know, you can get away with a 50k centre back. The difference between a 50k centre back and a 500k centre back is marginal. But between a 500k striker and a 50k striker, there's a massive, significant difference. So always remember that. That is the million coin team. And if you're playing a 5-1-2-2, it's pretty much self-explanatory for all these formations. Just drop one of your CDMs. People ask me, what do I do? There's two choices there when you're playing a 5-1-2-2. Either you drop a winger to make that left wing back. That's one of the options. And then, for example, I'll do it like Son over there. I wouldn't put Dembele can get the job done, but I wouldn't really want him there. I'd probably want a Son like that. That's one way you can do it. Option number 1. Option number 2 is you keep the midfield presence and you drop, for example, as you can see, one of your players, in this case, I dropped Valverde, the CDM, into the centre back line. So all the formations, that is how you change into a 5-back formation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. That is, of course, the meta teams. Don't forget to subscribe to my Patreon if you want to get better at FIFA. Don't get better after 1 month. I'll refund your money. That is, of course, the nil guys guarantee. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy. And of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.